Salesman of Reddit, what is your most successful sales tactic? A sales tactic that is used almost everywhere but goes unnoticed is the better good best presentation. No, that is not a typo. We know the good better best because it's easy to see, but flip the first two. The human mind isn't very good at remembering things in the middle. Think of any movie you have seen, or any book you have read in the past. You can easily recall the beginning and the end. If you present the better product, then the good, and end with the best, then the lowest price or margin gets lost in translation. This leaves the brain with only two choices, because the consumer forgot the middle item. If it's a young guy looking at an expensive pretty car, show them a not so pretty car at a much lower cost, and tell them perhaps this is in more of their price range considering how young they are. This will make them want to prove you wrong, and they will pay sticker price. Priming words. When I used to sell cars I would always say things like, "Here, let me go grab the keys to your car and we'll take your car for a test drive," or "Go ahead and turn here for me, left this left for me." What you're doing is priming the customer with certain words to make it easier for them to make the deal. When I sit down with them and finally have the price they want, I simply said, "Well, go ahead and sign here for me and we'll get your car ready to go." I would never ask them for the sale. I would assume they're getting it. I was always very friendly, didn't BS people, and didn't try to upsell someone on crap they didn't want. I would be honest with them, especially when it came to the game I was about to play with my sales managers, going back and forth till we got the price down. I would remind the customer that they didn't need to accept everything my finance manager threw at them, and tried to make the experience as best I could for them, and made them aware I was really giving them the best deal. Honesty, integrity, patience, no BS, friendly service gets the best deals. I don't know if being a waiter counts as sales, but I do tons of selling food to people who aren't sure what to get. These are my go-to lines to sell things quickly. It's one of the best sellers here for people who like X, spicy, sweet, fresh, light, etc. dishes. This kind of dish is exactly what they're looking for. This dish here is my uncle's, mom's, grandpa's, etc. favorite dish. He/she/z would pull your arm to try it. People cannot resist once they've tried this dish. Once you've had a taste you won't be able to stop yourself from finishing the plate. I sell about $3,000 in food every day. I work using these 3 lines over and over again. You need to know who you are selling to. There are certain types of people and they can all be persuaded to buy something. If it's the insecure I don't know, I don't think I need that person. You talk a lot about a lot of things you could offer until you get him to think that this isn't working out before you hit him with a genuine offer of something he actually wants. You'll have created the illusion of a perfect offer in between all the crap, which is exactly what he wants. If you have a negotiator who thinks he can talk his way to a better deal, you offer him something different than what he actually wanted. When he refuses, you ask him what he wants. Then you make him a bad offer. Then ask how to improve the offer and let him basically think he is guiding you and working you until you give him the deal that is best for him. He will think that he got you there and that deal is his prize. Then there is a type that doesn't know anything about the product. You could try and sell him everything there is to sell, but it's safer to educate the person about everything, even useless stuff, then leave some of it out, including something he showed interest for. Then you say something like, "Of course I can include that if you want. Do you then want X too?" Most of the time the person will say yes, since they now think they want it. I don't remember all the types though. Also, this is all evil witchcraft anyway. Suggestive selling is an awesome thing. I worked at Hardee's while in high school, late 90s, and the "would you like 2 big cookies or 2 apple turnovers for $1 with that?" would result in a yes or sure easily 50% of the time. So heck yeah, it works. Goldsmith here. It helps to give the jewelry directly into the customer's hand. Once it's there, they do not want to give it away anymore. If it's high quality stuff, you can tell them stories about the gems which are used, the technique, history and so on. It gives the object something personal, so it's easier to get bonded to it. And that is basically the secret. You are not just selling jewelry, you are selling a feeling with it. Why are the majority of these answers manipulative? These are some grade C+ sales skills in my opinion. Here's the ticket to good sales. Ask powerful questions that uncover your customers' needs, issues, wants and desires with regard to your product, so you can present a tailored solution to them that best addresses their situation. That only works if your product is actually a good solution to their problem. If it's not, and I would argue that a significant number of products that use salesmen to push them are not, otherwise the customer would just show up and buy what they need without needing the intervention of a salesman. So it's the salesman's job to either point out that it is, in fact, a solution to a problem they might not even be aware they have, or convince them they do have a problem that you can solve. And most people don't want to be bothered by salesmen, so manipulation. You gotta convince them to listen to you long enough to make your case, or even just find out what the customer's needs, issues, wants and desires actually are. 4 words every person loves to hear. I agree with you. So I was making digital things to sell online and I made this good looking thing in a very short amount of time. I put X price tag on it, which at a time seemed to be very reasonable, and I wait for a sale. A few months passed, no sales, which is weird to me. It's a quality thing for a good price. So I think, screw this then, and double the price just so my portfolio looks more expensive. I get a sale the same week, and a few more later. I assume people thought it was too good to be true for such a price, and that there must have been something wrong. It's amazing how well this works sometimes. I know a software developer who did the same. Cheap price, few sales. Tripled the price, same product in every way, also tripled the number of sales. Silence. When you feel the need to fill the silence with words, it sounds like BS. People can smell BS a mile away. When you're done talking, stop talking. Sit and wait. If they start to fill the silence, they're trying to talk themselves out of the sale. And, if you're behind your product, you can shoot down any reason they would have to not buy from you. I have over 10 years of sales experience. I've always done very well at it, and I effing hate it with a passion. I work in clothing. I just bring items in and don't even mention them. When I leave the fitting room, bra fitter, they usually come out with at least one of those items. Very successful for convincing people to get the matching panty set. Depends on what you are selling. I was an HVAC commercial equipment sales rep for quite a few years, and I was responsible for working with the contractors. It boiled down to basically 3 points. It is my job to make their job easier. Point out potential issues, coordinate when they want stuff delivered on the job site, remind them of startup requirements, schedules etc. You've got to be someone they want to hang out with. Golf outings, drinks, dinner, barbecues, poker night, hunting, fishing, skiing trips. This is not an 8-to-5 job and you've got to balance it with your personal life. I made some great friends out of my customers, so part of my job was getting paid to get wasted with friends and all expenses paid by the company. There was a concert my wife and I wanted to go to but couldn't afford. Invite a customer and now it's a business outing. I very rarely sold them anything, unless it was to demo a new product, and in person I only talked business with them if I had a direct question, or if they brought something up. Otherwise business discussions were on the phone, or via email during a normal workday. Be a problem solver. A couple examples I can think of is for some reason a manufacturer shipped a big load of material to our company's main office instead of the contractor's office. I knew they needed the stuff the next morning on the job site, so I drove 5 hours to the main office, drove home, and was at the job site waiting for the customer the next morning. Another time a contractor was having a hard time getting a woodshop dust collection system started up and certified by my competitor, and they mentioned it to me in passing. I contacted the factory directly and got certified to do the startup on the equipment that my company didn't even represent. I saved the contractor's bacon and made the competition look terrible at the same time. My top 4 most successful tactics: show them the most expensive item first, then go lower until I hit what they want. Show them videos for certain products. I managed to sell certain phone cases with great success by showing them a 25-foot drop test. The phone in that case survives. Site marketing materials. There's a screen protector we sell that's composed of a blend of plastic, glass and a very small amount of sapphire crystal. I push it as sapphire infused hybrid glass, just like the manufacturer does. Compare the products I sell to competitors. Bad mouthing competitors. Usually works. Before I got out of sales, I had an excellent multi-year run with what I came to call the anti-pitch. Basically a pitch free of hype, transparently about trying to exceed my quota, wrapped up with a hey, you either will or you won't, and I'm not terribly invested either way attitude. The response was typically that I'd catch them off guard, and they'd see me as an OBS straight shooter. I consistently was top ranked nationally within the company and ended up being invited to attend a bunch of swanky corporate retreats and flown around the country, all expenses paid, with tons of overtime to help flagging branches. The hitch was that you can't tell corporate what your approach is. They only want to hear our bootstrap BS. So I had to attribute my success to the fiction they wanted to hear and selectively share the truth on the road. Nailed it on the corporate thing. The best guys don't follow the corporate sales pitch, but heaven forbid if you tell them it's trash, because they hired a bunch of consultants that told them it'll increase sales. I'm consistently at the top of sales at my job, and the biggest difference is I genuinely care about my clients enjoying their products. I don't want to sell them anything they won't like, and I won't. The more you actually care about the person and acknowledge they're a person, not a walking dollar sign, the easier it is to sell to them. Same here. I've been in some lifelong friendships with customers as well, but I generally care about my customers' well-being and the well-being of their business. I tell some of my shrewder customers all the time, if we do not all make money out of the transaction, the relationship isn't going to work out. If my customer's business doesn't succeed, that's one less distributor I have pushing my product in the marketplace. I mean, heck, I've driven material 2 hours away for a customer because the end user was a huge client they needed to impress. I'm successful because I care. I treat the job more like consulting than sales. Wow, you made it to the end. Thank you for watching, you precious little gem, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day, and as usual, remember to stay frosty.